Moving a 60-year-old jet fighter from point A to point B could be a tricky job, but luckily, the team from Intrepid and Bay Crane, they made it look very easy. First, we had a road trip in the middle of the night. Then, we had to lift Skyray over trees, some 60 feet up in the air. And to top it all off, we had to secure it onto a barge and sail it 30 hours to Manhattan. And after a quick overnight stay in New Jersey, it was time to bring Skyray home. Peter from Intrepid accompanied Skyray on its final leg of the move, and New York City, it did not disappoint. The weather was perfect to welcome Skyray home some 60 years since she flew from the flight deck during the Cold War.
Well, the barges arrived and we're rigging the plane to pick onto the pier.
It's here, and there's Peter. Peter rode in with it from New Jersey, but it's so great to have it so close. Now a couple of crane lifts away from the flight deck, and then it's home after 60 years away. Great stuff.
Now the final push still had some risk, but with Mother Nature on our side, confidence was high. The plan to get Skyray on the flight deck was to be done in 2 stages. First, the lift from the barge to the pier. And then a second lift from the pier to the flight deck.
The Skyray, without a question, is one of the most important acquisitions in the history of the institution.
That, 60 years ago, it was on the deck flying its mission. The journey from Connecticut, like Susan said, 177 miles. It was, took a few days, really took a few years though. Once we found it, discovered that it had Intrepid history to bring it on board.
And after a quick ceremony to welcome Skyray home, it was time to lift her onto the flight deck where she belongs. As Skyray takes its rightful spot on the flight line, we will continue to tell the story of Intrepid through artifacts and the stories that help shape this amazing museum for future generations.
It is fantastic for our visitors to see a true piece of Intrepid. Fantastic to be able to tell that story, the details of that story, and wonderful to learn from it as well.
And we'll also be on the lookout for any stories of Skyray from the men who flew it and maintained the squadrons of this iconic aircraft. Stay tuned for the next part of our Skyray video series as the restoration team rolls up their sleeves for an extensive aircraft makeover. You won't want to miss that.